The Indian banking sector controls massive volumes of sensitive financial data, yet its current compliance posture relies on a vulnerable assumption. Many institutions defer their data protection impact assessment programs until the ministry formally issues a significant data fiduciary designation. This delay creates significant regulatory exposure. DPDP Act Section 8 requires reasonable security safeguards for all data fiduciaries. Determining what is reasonable requires a documented risk assessment for any high-stakes processing, regardless of an institution's official designation. The DPDP Rules 2025 formalize this requirement through a structured risk-proportionate framework. These rules immediately mandate DPIAs for specific high-risk activities, bypassing the SDF designation timeline entirely. This table identifies the 4 activities that trigger an immediate, mandatory DPIA. These include biometric eKYC processing and automated credit scoring. The mandate also covers behavioral tracking, involving more than 5 lakh individuals, and the cross-border transfer of financial personal data. For all other processing, a privacy impact assessment acts as the necessary frontline screening mechanism to determine if deeper scrutiny is required. Relying solely on future designation timelines exposes modern financial institutions to immediate regulatory breach and unquantified operational risk. The platform evaluates standard processing activities using a 5-dimension risk scoring model during a routine PIA. The system enforces strict quantitative limits. If the activity scores a high risk overall or reaches a critical risk threshold in any single dimension, the system flags the activity. Crossing this threshold triggers an immediate change in how the data is managed within the compliance platform. The assessment mathematically escalates. The platform terminates the standard PIA workflow and automatically generates a newly linked full DPIA record. This transition is documented in an escalation audit trail. The trail captures specific metadata, the exact date of the transition, the numerical score that forced the trigger, and the identity of the assessing role. Verifiable software escalation removes manual guesswork from the process, providing evidence to regulators that the institution is proactively identifying high-risk processing. We can examine this framework through the lens of a common high-risk scenario, biometric eKYC. This grid illustrates the 9-step DPIA architecture required by regulators. Step 1 establishes the overview, documenting the lawful basis. Step 2 maps the complete data trajectory from the consumer into the institution's servers. To maintain accuracy, the platform's AI pre-populates these steps directly from a linked record of processing activities database. Pulling structural data directly from the active ROPA prevents the use of outdated information and maintains parity between the central database and the specific risk assessment. Step 3 establishes the complete data inventory. For the eKYC workflow, this requires identifying the exact facial recognition vectors, biometric templates, and supporting identity fields extracted during the process. Step 4 assesses proportionality. You must map the exact data deletion triggers to satisfy the strict storage limitations defined in Section 8, subsection 7. Finalizing these first 4 steps anchors the technical workflow in a strict legal justification, creating a documented boundary that restricts unauthorized data fields. Step 5 shifts the assessment to mathematical evaluation. This heat map visualizes the primary risk matrix. The platform identifies known vulnerabilities. For eKYC, re-identification risk is plotted into the red zone, while third-party bureau sharing plots into the medium risk zones. The system operates on a hard stop logic to ensure that high risks are addressed. Any node scoring high or critical immediately locks the assessment. Progression is blocked until a formal mitigation plan is attached. Step 6 provides the mechanism to resolve these locks by documenting technical and organizational safeguards. This dropdown displays the integrated BFSI safeguard library. Practitioners select standardized controls pre-mapped to exact RBI mandates and ISO 27001 standards, rather than drafting protocols from scratch. Standardizing mitigation controls transforms a subjective risk exercise into an objective security posture. Step 7 expands the assessment to vendor management. When external data processors handle KYC biometric data, the institution must document the processor's compliance with Section 8, subsection 2. Step 8 demands evidence. A mitigation strategy listed in a text field is insufficient without proof that the control is active. This diagram illustrates evidence linkage. Supporting documentation, like security audit reports and vendor agreements, are linked directly to specific mitigation claims within a relational platform. Generalized claims of encryption are not sufficient. The specific encryption standard, implementation scope, and audit evidence must be anchored to the risk node. The workflow concludes at Step 9, Decision and Approval. This structure enforces role-based access control. Independence of assessment is maintained by separating the practitioner conducting the DPIA from the data protection officer who approves it. Once stakeholders sign off, the document engages a final integrity lock. No further edits are possible. The platform generates a final, regulator-ready PDF export, secured by a cryptographic integrity hash. This cryptographic seal provides auditors with mathematical verification that the assessment remained unchanged post-approval, establishing a defensible evidentiary chain. A mathematically proven, cryptographically sealed artifact provides a level of certainty that manual spreadsheets cannot replicate. However, executing a single ad hoc assessment is insufficient to meet the sustained requirements of a significant data fiduciary. This timeline illustrates the continuous, year-round compliance program required for SDF operations. Quarter 1 involves a comprehensive review of all existing DPIA records, identifying workflows that require reassessment due to changes in processing. Quarter 2 focuses on entirely new or newly evolved high-risk activities, executing fresh 9-step assessments for each. Quarter 3 focuses on assurance verification. This process verifies that the technical safeguards mandated in previous quarters remain active in production. Quarter 4 compiles these program-wide metrics into structured summaries for mandatory board-level reporting. The platform architecture enforces this schedule, tracking completion metrics and sending automated assessment reminders to the DPO. The system generates board-ready compliance exports directly from the program's history, providing an instant summary of the year's activities. These platforms transition risk management from a point-in-time exercise into a systemic procedural discipline required for high-volume banking operations.